You're going to love this interview. Just got done editing it. I'm glad I got it live for you. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes hanging out, answering any questions you have. In fact, leave a comment below about data points or what you think is going to happen to the company, and I will respond to every comment. Additionally, if you're just loving the content, click the thumbs up and I will go and check out your profile as well and give your videos some love as well. In the meantime, enjoy the interview. Hello, everyone. My guest today is Shaun Moore. He is making sense of video data via his company, Trueface.ai. His journey to create the company began in 2012, leaving Merrill Lynch in Chicago and booking a one-way ticket to Casablanca, Morocco to pursue his entrepreneurial vision, make technology accessible, personable, and trustworthy. Shaun, you ready to take us to the top?
I am, yes.
All right. So talk to us. What is Trueface doing, and is it a pure play a SaaS model in terms of how you're making money?
It was, and we've transitioned out of that into a couple different ways of making money. One is through proof of concepts or just general proof that the technology works in the environments in which we're seeing demand for. The second then is production licensing, and the third is professional services. So one of the interesting things to note about computer vision right now is it's still very early on in the industry's adoption. And so a lot of these Fortune 500 companies or governments that we work with don't have the capacity or engineering talent to take this technology, implement it quickly, and show ROI. And so, we are having to do a lot of that handholding, and it's becoming helpful for us because then we can dictate, it helps us dictate how we build our products based on the demands of the actual customers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you came on, I guess it was probably 4 or 5 months ago, it sounded like it was kind of a more pure play SaaS model. Why are you moving away from that? Is it just because they can't implement it even if they buy it?
Exactly. So, we thought that's what would be the easiest, kind of least friction point to make the sale. And it turns out that it ended up being significantly harder. And, a lot of the times we're deploying this technology on local infrastructure to our clients to ensure data and privacy, that is upheld by our clients. And so the SaaS model just doesn't always work for them. They would prefer to buy an annual license or a per camera license. And so, we've had to listen to what our customer said versus what we thought they were going to say.
Well, an annual license is still, I consider SaaS. It's still recurring.
It is, but there's always some mechanism of support or professional services that we've got to tack onto it. So I would say it's becoming a hybrid from a traditional, purely you could sign up, buy our solution and deploy it, to now there is that handholding or 3 to 6 months of work with them to get it up and running.
So if you look at all the revenue you've made in 2019 so far, what do you think the split is between one-time stuff versus truly annual recurring?
When you had asked me this 6 months ago, it was probably 80% one time. That's now flipped. It's probably about 70% recurring now. So,
okay. So you're more of a SaaS company than you were 6 months ago.
Yes, but just in a different dynamic.
Okay.
So yes, in terms of the way that we book the revenue now.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure I understand, right? So you said you're kind of moving away from SaaS because it's not working, but then you just told me your revenue has been 70% SaaS and 30% one time. So what's really the storyline here? It takes more consulting than you thought?
It does. It takes more consulting to get to that point where it is truly SaaS. So we initially assumed that we could just put documentation on the internet, people would come, sign up, pay through Stripe, and it would be off to the races. That wasn't the case. And so,
well, yeah, you're an enterprise sale, by the way. You told me your ARPU earlier was last episode was $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year. People aren't just going to put a credit card on a website and pay $60,000.
Well, we thought they would.
Yeah. Is that still your kind of target annual contract value? They're paying about $60,000 a year.
It's gotten higher this year. We've booked just over 7 figures, and so going from about $200,000 in revenue last year to over 7 figures this year, we're starting to understand that cycle a bit better.
Okay, and of last year in 2018, the $200,000, how much of that was consulting versus true recurring annual contracts?
About 80% was consulting
Okay, so it's
or proof of concept work. So yeah, it's definitely flipped. And I think that the hardest part about the enterprise sales cycle, especially with computer vision, is it's a new purchase. It's a new line item, and it's either going to marketing, it's going to security. And so finding the budgetary line item for us has been somewhat of a mission. But I think, having an internal champion is what helps get us to that point where we're understanding how we drive ROI for those customers.
So how many customers are you now working with, the annual contracts?
About 17 to 20 right now.
Okay, 17 folks. That's good. And obviously founded in 2013. Now, have you raised any capital since we last spoke?
We have, yeah. So we secured a seed round, $3.7 million from some investors.
On top of the 4?
No, so the total amount raised to date from inception is just over 5 million, but the seed round is 3.7.
Okay. You do a note there or a safe or what?
Yeah, we actually priced out some. We priced out half of it, did it on half of it.
So you priced out equity and you did debt on the other.
That's correct. Yeah.
Who did you get debt from? Like a Silicon Valley Bank?
No, it was convertible notes.
Okay, got it. That's interesting. I mean, usually you do a convertible note when people can't agree on valuation, but you had people agreeing on valuation because you did part of it as equity. So why not just put everyone under the equity?
Yeah, convertible note first, rolling into the equity round.
Got it. Okay, got it. What was the spread in terms of the time between the two?
About 3 months.
Okay.
So not a whole lot of time. We weren't planning on raising the equity round, and then an opportunity came up to us with a great partner, and we decided to move forward with it. So, at that point for us, we had the cash that we needed, but the partnership and the doors that were open from that investor was more appealing to us.
Interesting. Okay, so how much of it was equity?
2 million out of the 3.7.
Okay, got it. So 1.7 convertible note, wait 3 months, another 2 million. That is pure equity.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you have the valuation conversation around that 2 million in equity? Did they kind of value like an agency or more like a consulting company at 4 or 5x?
It was kind of a mix of things. So projected revenue, they did a lot of customer calls, a lot of customer references for projected future contract value. And so we based it on a multiple of projected future contract revenue.
Okay. And last time you were on, you'd articulated your team was about 13 folks. Is it still the same size today?
16. So hired 3 more.
And how many engineers?
I think it's 9 now.
9. Okay. And how many quota carrying sales reps?
2.
2. Okay. So that went down. You had 4 last time. You fired 2 people?
We let 1 go, and I'm the third.
Got it.
So I'm not quota carrying, but I am.
You're equity carrying. Why'd you let 1 go?
Just wasn't a fit.
Like missing quota or what?
Yeah, it just wasn't what we needed. We thought they were, going to come in and take a senior role, and we were wrong. So,
interesting. What was the general profile of that person so other startups don't make the same mistake?
Yeah, I think the mistake there is we were excited about the past resume of the person and reference calls checked out with some high profile people in the Valley. And, came from the kind of late 1990s, early 2000s days of sales, our enterprise sales, and it just wasn't a fit with our culture.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And so my advice there would be to for us now, we always look at culture first and foremost, and the ability to execute it. It comes in parallel there, but it's more important that we get along as a team and that we're cohesive and that everyone is comfortable in the office.
Yep. That's good. Now, I assume you're still burning capital. You just raised a bunch. About how much are you burning per month?
You completely cut out there.
Yeah, I was just saying, last time you were on, you said you're burning about $150,000 a month to drive growth. I assume you're probably burning that or more because you raised more.
Yeah, it's about that though. On average, just a little bit higher than that.
And what are most of your expenses going towards? Is it just engineering headcount or something else?
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, that's the big one. Are you doing meaningful kind of paid stuff yet? Facebook ads, things like that, or that's not a fit for this?
No, we're testing, we're A/B testing a few things and on a couple different mediums. We have found that kind of following the news and then targeting those geographic areas based on need.
What does that mean? Filing the news.
So to give you an example, there's a country down in South America that has mandated biometrics as part of their security for one of their industries, the financial services industry. And so, being able to attach ads or attach campaigns to that type of news where the market is already looking for that solution helps us get in there a lot faster. So, following the trends around the world is pretty important to us. There are places we won't do work in, but for the most part, that's how a lot of the demand arises is it's around regulation or a need for this type of technology.
Is the Air Force still a customer for face access at bases?
They are, yes.
Good.
So we've gotten our second contract with them. Everything's going well. So we're very excited about working with the DoD. So
China calls and says, we want to implement this all over China, but you don't like their social policies. Do you take the deal?
No.
How do you draw that line?
We have our internal protocols there and everyone knows that we don't do work in China internally. So we just blanket say no to it. Russia's the same way. We won't do work in Russia. And so, we've got our policy about using computer vision in a responsible way and what that means to us, and not powering things like mass surveillance. It's really important to the advancement of society, but also the adoption of this technology, the accelerated adoption of this technology. People need to trust it, and we need to be transparent. So we've turned deals down. We'll turn more deals down. At this stage, we want to empower the right use cases, not ones that lead to surveillance of a group of people over in China.
So 17 customers, $5,000 a month ARPU. That puts you about $85,000 a month right now in revenue, or that $1 million run rate. Is that accurate?
It's a bit higher than that, but okay. Yeah, it's close.
And where were you exactly a year ago? Do you remember?
I don't, but I mean, in 2018, we only booked, just under $200,000 in revenue. So significantly less.
Yeah. So you're talking like 10, 20 grand a month back a year ago. Yeah. Good growth. Okay. How are you getting new customers today?
Referrals, a big one for us. Like I said, the need versus the want. We were chasing Fortune 500 companies earlier in the year, even 2018, that we found out we're just trying to understand more about what they could do, not what they needed. And so, we've had to really refocus our blinders on shiny objects. So shiny companies, big brand names that aren't as meaningful to our revenue growth as we once thought they could be. And so, referrals are big for us. We still do a lot of outbound, a lot of in-person meetings. And it's really just, networking around the industry for things like security or access control, where there is a significant need. But we went from sending, I think it was about 10,000 plus emails a month, directed, targeted emails a month, to a fraction of that are way more focused on people that we know need the technology.
So what are you targeting? You're sending out cold emails. What's the job title? Where are you getting the email? Is it LinkedIn or what?
Yeah, it was LinkedIn. They've clamped down on some of those different tools that we used to use. So now, LinkedIn lead feeder is a big one for us. But yeah, finding the email one way or another, or even asking in our network people that know, but it's typically an executive level or an innovation director, head of business development, head of new product, that we know has an interest in this technology.
Interesting. Okay, good. So when you back into your fully weighted CAC to get a new $60,000 a year contract, what would you kind of put that at?
It's difficult to answer that question, and I don't have a good answer for you right now. We're still figuring that out.
Mm-hmm. So if a salesperson closes a $60,000 a year deal, what do you pay typically in commission?
It depends on if they're hitting their yearly or quarterly quota.
Okay.
So anywhere from, single digit percent up to very low double digit percentages.
Okay. So let's assume 10%, right? Kind of in the middle. That's 60 grand, or sorry, that's $6,000 right there, about 10%, right? Of the first year ACV. Any other big costs besides commission?
No.
Okay. So you could argue you're spending about between 6 and 10 grand to get a new $60,000 a year customer.
Right. Correct.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Because the lead feeder stuff, you just pay for the software there, obviously, which isn't a big fee. And then you just use those and it goes to your 2 sales reps.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting. And you doing any like content stuff, speaking, thought leadership?
Yeah. We were doing a lot of that earlier this year, and I still do some of it. We're testing that, right? So we're testing, is it bringing in true ROI? And for us, I mentioned earlier, it takes months for us to close a client that we start talking to. And so we're just now seeing some of these speaking gigs translate into me having meetings, and then into those customers being interested and then now paying us. So we're in the process of analyzing that as part of our 2020 strategy, if we're going to continue to do that. But yes, I spoke in London, I spoke in Berlin earlier this year. And really for me, it's about understanding the markets overseas. And, London's a hot topic right now for the use of facial recognition. They had a court case that was, the judge ruled in favor of facial recognition, which was a surprise to everyone. And so, I think it's important for me to stay on top of the ball here, internationally speaking, when it comes to regulation on facial recognition and how the public is perceiving it. So speaking is important to me. Thought leadership is very important to us, and we are continuing to push things out, but we want to make sure we're making the best use of our time. So we're analyzing that.
Of all the customers that were paying exactly 1 year ago, did any of them downgrade or cancel completely?
No.
Okay. So you have no gross revenue churn annually?
None.
On average, what do they expand their accounts by?
We haven't seen it. We're not to that cycle yet.
Just too early.
Yeah.
Very good, Shaun. All right, man. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
Connecting the Dots by John Chambers. Recent book, but I really enjoyed reading it.
And number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Him. He did a great job at Cisco, and he's been very vocal and active in the digitalization space over in France. I think is his big initiative. So, taking what I've learned from him and his ability to lead at Cisco, seeing how he views the world as this big digital marketplace, definitely trying to learn a lot from what he's done.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building a company?
Notion.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Between 7 and 8. I'm very strict on it.
Good. All right. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I will be married in March.
Okay. No kiddos. And how old are you?
I am 31.
31. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
To build genuine relationships quicker.
Guys, there you have it. Trueface, playing in the facial recognition space. They were doing just $200,000 a year in 2018. They'll pass $1 million this year. They've got about 17 paying customers paying about $5,000 a month, right? So run rate north of $1 million per year, growing nicely. Burning capital. They're burning about $150,000 per month, but they've raised about $5 million to drive that growth. 16 people on the team, 9 engineers, 2 sales folks. Too early to talk about churn and things like that, but spending call it between $7 and $10,000 to get a new $60,000 a year contract as they look to continue to scale. Shaun, thanks for taking us to the top.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You guys know I fight like heck to get these data points for you from these CEOs that rarely do these kinds of shows. If you want more shows like this, make sure you subscribe right now. We're trying to get 10,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of September here, 2019. And it would mean the world to me if you clicked now to subscribe. Additionally, I've got 2 more great interviews for you. If you want more data points from the world's leading SaaS CEOs, click and watch one of them right now.